Originally releasing in Japan on July 8, 2000, and then a little over a year later in America on April 6, 2001, Pokemon the third movie is, obviously, the third movie in the Pokemon movie series, and the last of the movies to appear in American theaters. Well, to be released widely in American theaters, we'll talk about that specific point later. I hope you're all as eager as I am for this movie, because this is one of the best, if not the best, of the Pokemon movies. I know it sounds like a tall order, especially considering the fact that there are 18 of these things, and it does sound like a backhanded compliment considering this is only the third of these movies, but trust me, we'll get into all that later. So without further ado, let's start this plot already. Our movie starts in the city of Greenfield, a city known for its, well, greenery and majestic views. We start off with our movie-only characters, Spender Hale and his daughter Molly, as he's telling her bedtime stories about legendary Pokemon, pointing out Entei in particular. Fortunately for poor Molly, family time has to get cut off so Spencer can go investigate some ruins in some desert somewhere in the world. I believe in Johto, I'm not sure on that point either. Anyway, while investigating the ruins, he accidentally opens a portal to another dimension. The dimension filled with the mysterious Pokemon known as the Unknown. Spencer's assistant returns to the manor with whatever they managed to bring back from the ruins and talks to the head butler in charge of everything, discussing the disappearance of Spencer. Of course, Molly overhears the conversation and of course freaks out because her dad's gone. She grabs what they brought, which was actually a box, opens it up and discovers a bunch of letters inside. Using these letters, she spells out the words Mama, Papa, and me. Did I mention her mother's gone too? We don't really know what happened to her towards the end of the movie, but yeah, her mother's gone. And this opens up a portal to the dimension where the Unknown are. The Unknown starts spilling out and basically bond with Molly in a sense, and start covering the mansion and the crystalline structure. She, of course, takes kind to the little creatures. She, of course, still feels lonely and wishes for her father to come back after looking in the picture book that they were looking at earlier. The Unknown grants her wish in the form of giving her Entei, who she begins referring to as Papa, and Entei accepts his role as Molly's father, thus beginning our movie proper. Well, our opening of the movie. Our movie truly begins with Ash and friends, this time with Brock in tow because Tracy's gone now, as they come across a trainer called Lisa, and we begin our opening montage fight scene. So yeah, basically the standard Pokemon movie opening now becomes standard for the rest of the series. But if I have to compliment anything in this movie, it's the animation. I'll talk about it later on, but still, really good scene. Anyway, after the battle, which Ash won if you're surprised, basically, they'll have lunch, and Lisa tells them about Greenfield, which they all agree to go see because apparently it looks beautiful. Meanwhile, in Kanto, Ash's mom, whose name I'll actually be using, Dahlia, is basically doing her standard thing of cleaning the house from whatever mess she caused when she watches the news to hear about the incident in Greenfield with Spencer Hill missing as well as the crystalline structure nonsense. Dahlia apparently knew Spencer and decides to herself to Professor Oak's lab. There, both of them decide to go head to Greenfield in order to check up on Spencer and Molly, full well knowing Spencer's gone, so just check up on Molly then. Ash and his friends arrive in Greenfield to find the chaos that's going on. Shortly before, Dahlia and Professor Oak show up. They have a touching reunion and a rather funny scene while the TV crews report what's going on for some reason. Molly sees this and then wishes she had her own mother, and Entei misinterprets this. He decides to head off to where the news crew and Dahlia are, and hypnotizes Dahlia and kidnaps her. Ash and Pikachu try their best to save her, but Entei, being an overpowered legendary dog, pretty much walks through them and ignores Pikachu's attacks. Before Ash is dragged off, Brock helps him get away, and he watches painfully on as his mother is dragged to the mansion. When Dahlia awakens inside of the mansion, she sees Molly, who pretty much refers to as mother, and becomes pretty content with what's going on. Molly wishes that all three of them could remain inside the mansion forever, and the Unknown comply by increasing the rate of the crystallization and its spread. Professor Oak quickly explains about Entei and the Unknown, while attempts are made to break through the crystals, only to fail as Molly tells everyone to leave them alone. Ash, being Ash, decides he can't sit around forever and decides to go save his mother, finding a stream of water that's somehow uncrystallized. He first starts to go off alone before Brock and Misty chase after him, trying to go along with them as they go up the stream. As they journey on, Team Rocket observes them from above and tries to get into the mansion themselves, only for Entei to shoot them down out of the sky. This grabs the news crew's attention, who focus in on the falling blimp, and then focus on Ash and friends climbing up the stream. When his ass is turning to go up, Ash almost falls to his death. This causes Dahlia to break out of her trance and realize what's going on. Meanwhile, Ash and friends manage to finally make it to the manor's interior. and try to figure out how they're supposed to actually get inside. In the rather creative scene, they manage to make their way into the mansion. Molly wants to get them out, but seeing all the Pokemon actually wishes to have a Pokemon battle against them, at which point she falls asleep, while Entei leaves the room. A dream version of herself appears on top of Entei, basically stating her concern that she feels she's too young to have Pokemon. In response, Entei says she can be whatever she wants to be, and she turns to an adult version of herself, managing to find Ash and friends in a large field on the second floor of the manor. Well, I'm going to leave the second floor of the manor. Brock decides to hold her off, leaving Ash and Misty to advance, which leads to a rather awesome fight scene that unfortunately gets cut off. Ash and Misty, meanwhile, find themselves on a beach that is quickly flooded into a gigantic ocean. They quickly find out that they can actually breathe underwater and stop panicking from the sudden flood. Molly appears stating that she managed to beat Brock, and then Misty challenges her to a battle so Ash can advance further on. Ash leads them to it before Misty reveals to Molly that she's actually the gym leader of Cerulean City Gym. Molly, realizing the fact she doesn't have to be an adult to use Pokemon, turns herself back into a child, and thus they begin their underwater match. Ash makes it to the top floor and finds his mother and the sleeping Molly. Dahlia wakes her up, and then they try to explain to Molly everything that's going on, and that the unknown is tapping into her mind. Molly, of course, rejects this idea before Entei shows up to basically beat Ash back. Ash, of course, can't actually fight against Entei despite his best efforts and is getting his ass kicked before being tossed out of a window. Before Ash can be made into Ash kebabs, suddenly Charizard flies in. If you're wondering where he came from, there was a brief snippet of a scene where the BF footage was being shown to Pacific Valley, so there. Anyway, yeah, Charizard shows up and manages to save Ash. They manage to go back to the floor, in which case Ash challenges Entei to another battle. This time, Charizard versus Entei. While the fight's going on, everyone manages to reach to the floor and tries to convince Molly to accept the reality of the situation. Of course, Molly rejecting everything and making everything get worse with every rejection. Of course, the fight is still awesome. Fortunately, even Charizard cannot stand up to Entei's might and is about to be finished off more combat style before Molly stops the fighting, not wanting to see anyone get hurt anymore, accepting her father is gone, and accepting Entei as her real dad. It's a rather touching scene where Molly just accepts everything that's going wrong and decides to reverse everything that's happened, basically making right what she did. However, it's far too late. I mean, there's still runtime in the movie! So yeah, the unknown are running out of control, and everyone decides to rush in order to stop them. However, there's a barrier around them that's repelling all their attacks, and the crystallizations prevent them from getting physically closer to them. Their only hope comes in the form of Entei, who accepts the fact that if he stops the unknown, he'll cease from existence, despite the fact he's just a spirit created by them. Entei tries fighting off the unknown from Molly, but it's still too weak, until Molly gives it the strength it needs, basically based off her own belief, believing Entei strong enough to beat the unknown, lets it beat the unknown, defeating this and ending early once and for all before fading away from existence, saying it was happy for a little time he got to spend with Molly in the end. So yeah, after this, the unknown goes away, everything sets back to normal, and Spencer Hale shot out of whatever dimension he was stuck in this whole movie. And in our ending credits, we get a rather funny line from Team Rocket. Spencer showing up with what we assume to be Molly's mom, who's not a new stepmother for Molly. Everybody gets their happy ending. Pretty good movie, am I right? Well, let's start where we always start, with changes. Honestly, when it comes to changes, this is probably the most faithful the movie has been. There are very little, if any, changes from the original Japanese version, and the little changes there are actually enhance the movie, such as the fact that the English dub mentioned Molly's mother, while Japanese dub was left to the side. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you know how I feel about this movie. I mean, I said it from the very beginning. This is one of my favorite of all the movies to date. Well, why do I feel that way? Well, let's start at the very beginning. The animation of this movie is still gorgeous and it holds up to this day. In fact, it's only with the past few seasons of the anime do I believe the animation of the anime has caught up to this particular movie. And if they've gone with a different style, you can argue whatnot here and there. The opening fight scene is a perfect example of how strong this animation is, which I can't really show you because this is a vlog, not an actual video, so sorry about that point. Anyway, other thing is, the characters in this movie are really on point. This is probably the most personally affected in a movie Ash has been to date. You heard me right, to date. There's no chosen one messages in the last movie, and nothing in it is coincidental. Well, except for Ash's friends going to Greenfield in the first place is coincidental. But you know what I mean. The plot, the conflict, and everything else revolves around, well, Ash and his family. Yes, Molly's the central focus, but still, Ash is also a major focus. It's his ultimate quest to save his mother, who was taken by Molly because she was desperately lonely. In fact, you can honestly make some comparisons to the Silent Hill franchise with this movie, considering the fact it's about a main character who desperately wants to escape reality by any means necessary and ends up creating her own nightmare because of it. Helen may be the first person to come up with a Silent Hill comparison. In a video made on That Guy with the Glasses, That Guy in the Suede, alongside Girorio, may he rest in peace, and Linkara, basically reviewed the entire movie with Girorio. I believe it's been a while since I've seen that video, comparing it to Silent Hill, specifically Silent Hill 2. I mean, think about it. We're really getting into this little girl's psyche. Why does Entei appear before her? Because her father compared himself to Entei, and she sees Entei as a father figure because of it. Why is there a crystalline structure blocking out everyone from the outside world? Because Molly's also rejecting the outside world and wants to be left alone in her thoughts and fantasies. Because the outside world to her is a cruel pleasure, and what she loves gets taken away from her. The reason the crystallization increases because she desperately wishes to hold on to this happiness she has after she kidnaps Ash's mom, Dahlia. When you think about it, this is truly the only time in her life, as far as we know, where she's felt like she's had an entire family for herself. I mean, yeah, a lot of it's subjective and whatnot, and there are a lot of depths here that only scratches the surface of, but it's still pretty great for a Pokemon movie of all things, especially considering the fact that standards weren't even that great to begin with for these movies. So yeah, great game, great story, great animation, great action, perfect movie. If I was giving a scoring system, this would be a 10 out of 10. This is by far the perfect Pokemon movie. And next time, I'll be seeing you at which is one of the worst Pokemon movies. Pokemon Forever.